Ipswich, draw. Bodo Glimt, win. Everton, we're going to find out on Sunday. Ruben Amorim has learned plenty good and bad about his Manchester United squad, and we're already starting to see an identity. I think there's going to be more changes for Everton, and I'll explain them in this video, as well as giving you my match prediction, and plenty more. Let's get into it. Sunday is Ruben Amorim's third game in charge, and in the first two, he's learned plenty. Ipswich, who not to start. Bodo Glimt, who to start. And now against Everton, how do we keep that momentum from that win, but also rotate so the players stay fresh? It's going to be a tricky starting 11 to pick. I'm going to try my best to predict it and the match in the comments. You can let me know what you think, as always, and please do drop a like on this video. But there was a lot of positives, I think, to take from that Bodo Glimt game. All right, the way that United played in that second half, the slight tactical tweak to have Garnacho wider, Bodo going inside, gave United far more control in that second half, and we dominated. We were camped in their half, and we should have won by more than one goal. But anyway, we got the 3 points. Going into Everton. Now, Everton are poop. They've been for a while. They're what? 6 points off bottom? 2 points off the relegation zone? But it's not going to be an easy game. There are no easy games in the Premier League, all right? It just will not happen this season. But let's take a look at what Ruben Amorim himself had to say ahead of the game, all right? First things first, he's not hiding. We will rotate players, and he's going to do it every single game. Now, it's going to be that delicate balance between rotating players out so they stay fresh, but not killing all momentum. It's going to be a really thin line for him to walk. I thought this was an interesting comment from Ruben, saying, look, in terms of how I get my ideas across to the players, there's no point showing them a video that's longer than 12 minutes because you're going to switch off and not watch it. So taking the players onto the training pitch and walking them through it, for him, seems like a more beneficial way to get the ideas across. And they're certainly getting the ideas across. For the fact that we were able to make that tactical tweak in the second half against Bodo Glimt and the players understood it, goes to show that. Also, and this is something that Ruben Amorim has emphasised on way more than one occasion now, about stop looking at the fact that we're playing three at the back. Stop looking at the individuals, really. Look more at the characteristics of the team overall, of the players. He was speaking about how there were no centre-backs on the pitch at the end against Bodo Glimt, but United still defensively had that shape that he wants. Now, in terms of rotating, what players won't start, it's a shame, a massive shame that Rasmus Hojlund probably won't start, given that he was the man of the match in the last game. But seeing, as he said, Rasmus was dead in the end, and Rasmus played a full 90 minutes, you would absolutely expect that Hojlund would be rotated and rested. Not because he's going to get left out or anything, but it's merely the fact that he doesn't want any of these players to get injured. Now, speaking about Mount, I think this in his second press conference, or speaking about Mount, he said, I love Mason Mount. And here he's just reiterating, I believe in Mason Mount. And I swear every single manager who's ever managed Mason Mount loves him. They really do. Maybe it's his out of possession work rate, don't know. But he's also sort of praised Diogo Dalot as well. And I think Dalot's going to be in this starting 11. Spoiler. Now, Everton's results, look, they've got one goal in the last 4 games against who? Brentford, West Ham, Southampton, and Fulham. Everton are there for the taking. Let's run through my starting 11. Now, this was the starting 11 that we played against Bodo Glimt. And there were plenty of changes from the Ipswich game. And I think there will be changes again. And I'm going to start probably with this one. And I'm doing this from a rotational perspective more than anything else. But I'm going to bring Casemiro in to start as that central centre-back. I think it's an interesting choice, but also quite a logical choice from Amorim to kind of see Casemiro as that centre-back. Because that central centre-back has got 2 jobs, really. Firstly, when it comes to build-out from the back, he's the one who drops into who stays in midfield and actually receives the ball a lot of the time from Onana. You'll see it in the first half against Bodo Glimt, and in the second half, really. That central centre-back is on the ball a lot, finding those passes, keeping the ball moving, but doesn't really get put under too much pressure. And that will suit Casemiro in where he is in his career. So I think if it was De Ligt staying on for 66 minutes and Casemiro coming on, I think we might see the flip reverse here against Everton. Casemiro will start and then De Ligt will come on. In terms of Mazraoui, he's fit. I've got no doubt that athletically he can cope with playing again. So I'm going to keep Mazraoui in my starting 11. Now, Martinez is an interesting one because you could put Luke Shaw as the left wing back, for example. But I think Amorim right now is going to be seeing Luke Shaw and Martinez as two that dovetail each other. Martinez started and Shaw came on. So in that sense, I'm going to go for probably the same thing. And I'm going to start Luke Shaw and put Martinez there. And again, this is not me saying that Luke Shaw is a better player than Martinez. This is me just sort of protecting the players in the same way I think Amorim will, whilst they get used to the system and Shaw's got to flush his legs out and actually get used to starting games, and the same with Martinez. So both of them are coming back from different levels of injuries. So I would make those two changes. And in midfield, I don't know if he'll actually change them. Ugarte, I think Ugarte will be like Mazraoui. I think Ugarte and Mazraoui will be able to cope with the loads better than a lot of these other players. I think athletically they're going to be a lot more reliable for Ruben Amorim. And Bruno Fernandes, I think in possession, offered a lot in that deeper central role. Now, you could start Eriksen there. You could start, Casemiro's now as the central centre-back. We don't know how fit Mainu is. All right, and the Mainu's a big question. Because as soon as Mainu's completely fit and available, I think athletically he'll be up there with Ugarte and will be able to cope with the demands. And Bruno will probably play a little bit higher up the pitch. But Amorim said that he enjoyed Bruno playing there from a tempo perspective. So I think Bruno's going to keep his position. I actually think we're going to keep those two there. Now, in terms of the wing-backs, I think this is an easy swap. Anthony kind of done exactly what I expected him to do against Bodo Glimt. Didn't really light it up. Ahmad, in that game against Ipswich, he earned plenty of credit. And I think he'll start here. I think that's quite an easy one. And at left wing-back, again, I think this one's quite easy. Unfortunately for Malacia, he's definitely not 100% ready for the pace of first-team football just yet, and let's see if he gets that back. And therefore, you've only really got Diogo Dalot to come in there, because I don't think Luke Shaw's going to be ready enough to play as the left wing-back yet. Left centre-back is a little bit less need to bomb up and down the pitch. There's a lot of movement still required, but less than left wing-back. So it's quite a few changes I'm bringing in here. And up front, I think there'll be changes too. Now, what's the best way to rotate this team? Because Hojlund, I think, will start on the bench. I wonder if I've got a sneaking suspicion that Mason Mount might keep his place. But I think Joshua Zirkzee starts this game. And I think he starts Zirkzee here. Now, that's going to be an interesting one, right? As far as I can see from Zirkzee so far, man, Zirkzee's been so cumbersome so far, man. Anything that I saw and I researched about his profile and how he played and all the games I watched from his time at Bologna, they've just not seen so far. And I don't really think that Zirkzee can be coached into being a box presence. I know that Amorim wants that. I just feel that in this system, he would be better suited there. So I'm actually probably going to keep Mason Mount there. And then the only other option we've got there up front is Rashford. Now, Amorim has already spoken about how he doesn't particularly feel that that's the best position for Rashford. You know, he's saying he was up against two giants in the Ipswich game. But that, I think, is what I'm going to go down as a starting 11. Mount keeps his place. Ugarte, Bruno, Mazraoui, and the rest are changes, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 changes from me. Now, that might be a bit much. It may well be that Amorim only rotates a few. But rotation is going to be key, right? He's already said it. We will rotate players, and it's going to be that balance between rotation to keep everyone fit and not so much rotation that you lose momentum from the game you built before. That's going to be really hard. And my prediction for this game is, look, I think I'm going to say the same prediction that I have for Bodo Glimt. I said 3-1 and I was close. It was 3-2. Everton are there for the taking, but Everton have a real presence. Is Onana fit for this game? I didn't even check. I think Branthwaite's fit. It's going to be interesting to see who would Branthwaite come up against in that formation. Probably against Mason Mount. So you might switch that, for example, to put Zirkzee on that side against Branthwaite instead of Mount. Maybe, maybe not. My prediction is going to be a 3-1. I hope that United can continue with what we saw against Bodo Glimt. That was just a competent and confident United team up against opposition that they allowed us to do it, but we did it well. And we squeezed the pressure in the second half and we continued with attacking patterns. Everton are there for the taking in this game, man. I'm going for a 3-1 win, and that's my starting 11. Shaw, Casemiro and Mazraoui is the back three. Ugarte and Bruno keeping their positions in midfield. Delo and Ahmad as the wing-backs, with Mount and Zirkzee behind Rashford. Lots of changes, I know, and ideally I wouldn't make that many. But I don't think Hojlund's going to start because he completed 90 minutes. So Rashford, over to you in this formation. What's your prediction and your predicted 11? Let me know.